Hi, I'm Jennifer Quick with Soul Clarity Coaching. Welcome to another video with me. Today I wanted to talk about control and surrender. These are really big polarities that we need to master, which is, yeah. So when we try to control something, we are manipulating it. We are restricting what it can do. When we surrender, we allow flow to happen. So what can happen when we're trying to control, especially if we're trying to control circumstances and other people? What happens is we actually are locking our vibration into a particular pattern aligned to a particular frequency. And sometimes it works, but most of the time it causes friction because frequency and vibrations are always shifting. They're very, very dynamic, right? And it's the overall resonance of both that actually determines what manifests and creates in your life. And the more we try and control that, the more friction we put between the ebb and flow of what has to happen amongst all the different dimensions that we exist. But when we surrender and we just accept our vibration and the frequency that comes to us, then we are actually, it's actually a form of greater control, because what we do is we surrender outwardly to the everything. Well, at the same time, we take control of our personal vibration, not anyone else, not the environment around us, not the conditions around us. We release that to do as it needs to. We control the vibration that we are. So control only happens, the only thing we have the right to control, or the only thing we have the ability to control, is our own vibration. So when we're trying to manifest something, we want to be aware of our vibration, because that's the only thing we can control. And we want to surrender to the environment and allowing that environment to shift as it needs to, in whatever way it needs to, in order for it to vibrate in alignment with you. So the control comes over your own vibration, maintaining that vibration. And when we're trying to manifest something in our lives, we have to hold a different vibration than what our current surroundings are. Because if our current surroundings matched the vibration, then we would have what we were trying to get, what we were trying to manifest. So how do I put this? If I wanted to manifest a house on the lake, okay? I wanted to manifest in my life a house on the lake. It's a big item, right? First of all, I have to believe it, and check out my manifesting video about that. But when it comes to the resonance, I have the goal, I want to have a house on a lake. What would it be like to live in the house on a lake? What would my behavior be? How would I be different? How would that feel? And I want to really look at what would my behavior be different, and how would that feel? Because the feeling's really important. The feeling is the vibration. So what would it feel like to live in that house? Okay. And I want to tap into that feel and that resonance of what it is emotionally to live in a house on the lake. Now that feeling I want to hold, even though I don't live on a lake. I live up on a mountain, in a forest, on a farm. I have chores to do. I have grass to cut. I have things to build and take care of, and everything that are related to living on a mountain with a farm. Very different condition. Very different behavior than how I would be if I lived in a house on a lake. For one, my backyard's much bigger than what my house on my lake would be. But I want to hold the resonance. So the vibration, the emotion of how it would feel to live in a cabin on or a house on a lake is very different than how it feels to live on a farm, a hobby farm in a mountain in the country. They don't match. So what the trick is that I have to hold the vibration even in the circumstances that are misaligned. And that's what you control. So you control. Think about how would that person be if they had stepped back and visited a farm. And start looking at your life from that perspective. And start taking action from that perspective. So personally for me, if I was the person that lived in a house on a lake, and I wouldn't have as much work to do, I don't think, and I would swim in the lake, and it would make me feel very refreshed, and I'd feel very free, and I would feel very I'd feel quite calm, and I would feel freer because I'd have less responsibility, so I'd feel quite free. And I think actually overall, because you want to narrow it down to like one emotion, and I think for me it would represent freedom. I would feel very free and independent. Okay, so now I take that feeling of being free and independent, and that person who lived a life that was very free and independent and everything came and was house sitting my house and farm. How would they go at it? How would they go about doing all that? They would have a very different perspective because it would be a novelty for one, because it's not part of their daily routine. So it would be something different. It would be a novelty, and the animals would be so cute, and you'd take appreciation more. You'd be enthusiastic because you'd probably be learning and involved and paying a little more attention to what you were doing because it wasn't something that was habitual. It was something that you actually would have to think about. And so now start addressing your life like that and allow the environment to change itself. And this is particularly important for our relationships, because relationships all have an ebb and flow to them. And when we try and control relationships, that's when we really damage each other, because we hold each other to, we don't allow each other to grow and change and evolve when we try and control each other. So say that I want this house on a lake, and I want to have a partner living with me, and who that partner is and how it would feel to live with that partner and everything else. Of course I want it to be my husband, but I am not going to say, you have to do this and you have to learn to do that, and this is what you need to do in order for us to get to live in that house, because this is the person I want to be living with. So you need to change to become that person. If I went to him and said that would be horrible friction and controlling over top of him and his experience. And I would be telling him how he has to become that person. But that's not, and he's most likely not going to become that person, because he's going to become resentful for me telling him what to do and try and control him. But what I have to do is keep that vision of who it is that I'm going to be living with and start reacting to him, and he's going to do what he needs. I'm releasing him. It's his choice to do what he wants to in his life. He could choose that he does not want to be that person living with me on a lake, and he wants to be, living in a high rise in New York. I don't know, but he may decide that's what he wants, and therefore he'll design his life to go be that way. And I have to be surrender enough, in the space of surrendering enough, that allows him to go do that, knowing that the resonance isn't right between us, and that's okay. I want him to be happy. I want him to have all his dreams, just like he wants me to be happy to have all my dreams. I don't need to control him, because there's somebody else that will come into my life who wants to live that way. But if I try and force him to be that person, that would be a disaster. I would never achieve it. So that's the surrender. You can only control yourself. You have to surrender to the who, the what, the where, all of that. It's the frequency, it's the vibration. It's only you that you can control, your vibration. I hope that gave you a little bit of insight and you enjoyed my little video here. Love you all. See you again. Subscribe and like the video. Thanks. Bye-bye.